In this video, I'm going to be talking about things I want Nintendo to either fix or change with the Switch's UI. And that's going to even include the eShop. So basically, anything on the Nintendo Switch's UI, I'm going to be talking about. And here is a list of things I want Nintendo to either fix or change on the Nintendo Switch's UI. Anyway, let's start the video. At number one, we have the Nintendo Switch's eShop. Sure, this is a good eShop, and sure, it's pretty easy to find games, I will admit, but it's not perfect and it's not flawless. Look how many games we already have on the eShop. We probably already have 30 to 40 different titles on the eShop, whether they be indie titles, whether they be virtual console games. Yes, Neo Geo games are included in that, actually, and then also AAA games. But then, of course, we have a search function, and we have the bestseller list, which shows you the best-selling games on the Switch. And then we have coming soon, but this is just not good enough, especially if you don't know the name of the game, or you don't know how to spell it, or maybe you're just browsing the eShop, and you want to know, for instance, hey, where are all the RPGs? They need to have different lists. If you look at the Wii U and you look at the 3DS eShop, then you can see how nice they are. Now, this is not really a big deal, but it would be nice if Nintendo went back to the old 3DS and Wii U eShops where they have music, because music made it feel very nice when you're browsing around in the Nintendo eShop. But those are the things I want Nintendo to fix when it comes to the Nintendo eShop on the Switch. At number two, we have the Switch's home menu. Now, I can say this is a very clean UI. It's fast, fluid. It definitely feels modern. I have no complaints with it, but there is a couple of things that could definitely change in the future. For one, we cannot actually organize our games or put them in folders, so make that happen. The Wii U finally got that update, and the 3DS. Even if we can't put the games in folders, it would be nice if we can actually move the tiles around. For instance, say I want Graceful Explosion Machine to be my very first game in the list. Why can't I do that? Or if I want Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the last of the list, why can I not do that? I mean, sure, it's not a big deal, but it would be very nice. The only way we can do it now is the last game you played will be the very first game on the list. So make sure whatever game you want at the beginning of the list is the last game you played on your system. That's how it organizes your games. But there needs to be a better way of organizing your games, especially when you get a lot of games and you really want to organize them. One thing that would be nice, which is not required of course as well, it would be nice to customize the UI. Most systems, even the Xbox One, PS4, Wii U, 3DS, maybe not the Wii U, but you know what I mean. They did have some way to customize the UI with themes or skins, different colors. Right now, we only have two different colors to choose from. We have black and white, but we don't have any other colors, and we can't buy our own themes just like the 3DS. So make that happen, Nintendo. Let's customize our own backgrounds or our own themes. One thing that would be nice, which I think you can do on the PS Vita, yes, I'm referring back to the PS Vita. I know the PS Vita is very old at this moment in time, but one thing you could do with the PS Vita, and I think also the Xbox One, don't quote me on this, but one thing what you could do is with your pictures you take in the album, you can actually make them backgrounds. So if they allowed us to make our album pictures backgrounds for the main menu, that would be absolutely fantastic. So make that happen as well for the main menu. Also, one thing that would make this main menu better, right beside the time and date and right beside your Wi-Fi or your LAN or the battery percentage, put how much battery the controller has. A lot of other systems already tell you how much battery you do have. Now, on the Switch, you can find out how much battery your controller has by going down all the way down to controllers. Let me go ahead and open up controllers real quick. Here is the controllers. You can see my Pro controller has about more than half of its battery left, and then you can see the console's battery life and the Joy-Con's battery life. But put it on the main menu so you don't have to keep jumping into controllers all the time. Also, you can tell when your controller is about to die, because Nintendo does warn you when your battery's low, and it'll give you a notification when it is about to die. But it would be nice to see it on the home menu. Or hey, they can even put it in the quick menu, because the Switch does have a quick menu. Next up, we're talking about the friends list. Now, It is nice that Nintendo is starting to really focus on the online aspect a little bit more than they did in the past, but it's not even close to perfect, and it's not even on the same levels as Xbox One and PS4. Sure, we don't know what they're doing in the future and what they're going to be adding when the online actually rolls out, but here's some stuff I want Nintendo to do. So you guys may have known that Nintendo is going to be releasing a mobile app, and we're going to be doing all the online functions through the mobile app. I think that's a very cool idea, since we do take around our smartphones all the time, or you have a tablet with you a lot. That is a very nice feature. But say your phone dies or your tablet dies, or maybe you don't have it on you at the moment, it's in another part of the house charging, and you don't want to go ahead and get it just to play the Switch. One thing I want Nintendo to do, if you look at people's friends list, you can't do anything with the friends list on the Nintendo Switch at the moment. You can look at people's games they played, but you can't do anything outside of that. You can't send them game invites. You can't chat with them. You can't really send them messages. You can't do anything with friends on your friends list except for looking at the games they are currently playing and whether they're online or offline. And that's pretty much it when it comes to the Switch. So there's no interacting with any people on your friends list. When you click on Play Activity and click on one of the games, it says, would you like to start this software? And you can see that's all you can do. You can't send them an invite if you own the same game. You can't send them a message. You can't voice chat them. You can't do anything with them. So that is one thing I would like them to do. Just for instance, our phones are dead. Maybe you don't have a phone. Who knows what the situation is. But it would be nice if we can interact with people on our friends list in some certain way directly on the Nintendo Switch's UI. Next up, we have the Nintendo Switch's album feature. This is where you can see all your screenshots and all your video clips you currently recorded of all your gameplay. Well, that's nice, but as you can see, I do have a lot of screenshots taken of various games, and you can see the list goes on and on and on and on of screenshots I have captured. One thing I hope Nintendo does do, I hope Nintendo really gives us a way to organize all of our clips and all of our video screenshots. Yes, video screenshots aren't currently available on the Nintendo Switch, but Nintendo did say that we will be able to record gameplay of games when that feature finally arrives on the Nintendo Switch. What Nintendo actually needs to do or should do is give us a way to organize these. Maybe give us folders for different games. For instance, I can name one NBA Playgrounds, I can name one Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and then I can add them into a folder, and it'll make it so much easier for me to actually see all my screenshots. Sure, you can see them here and you can really browse, and it's very fluid and very fast, but once you start getting a lot of games on your Switch, this will just become cluttered, and I would like to organize them. Even if it doesn't really help, it just cleans this album up and it makes it much more easier. Hopefully they'll take it a step further when the video recording comes out. We can put the video clips in a separate folder, and we can put all the pictures in another folder, or just give us folders overall, and I would be really happy about it. Also, in terms of screenshots and in terms of taking gameplay videos, I would like them to give us some type of live streaming. Yes, I know Nintendo's really picky when it comes to that kind of stuff, but if you look at the PS4 and the Xbox One, they already have ways to stream to different sites on the internet, whether it be YouTube or whether it be Twitch. I know probably the Switch is not the most powerful console, but even if we were even able to stream at 480p, I know 480p sounds really, really milky, but if we were able to at least stream at 480p, 600p, 720p, that would be really nice, and it would give a lot of people opportunity to stream Nintendo games outside of having a computer and having a capture card, because not a lot of people can afford that, and some people don't know about it. So it would be nice to just sit back, relax, press a button on your Nintendo Switch and start live streaming to YouTube or Twitch or whatever site you're allowed to on the internet. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much it for the album. Next up, we have the Switch's quick menu. Now, here is the quick menu when it comes to the Switch, but you can see it's very, very, very bare bones when it comes to the quick menu. A lot of systems already have a quick menu. They even harken back to the old PS3 and Xbox 360 days. When you bring up this quick menu, you can't do anything. It does show you the time of day. It does show you if you're connected via LAN or Wi-Fi, and it does show you the battery percentage of the actual Switch's system. But let's put more stuff on this quick menu. For instance, give us the battery life of our system. When we pull up this menu on the side, you can see right by the time and day on the top right hand corner in those notification trays that there is probably space for another indicator. Give us an indicator for the battery. Also, you can see there's a lot of black space under the time and date, the percentage of the battery life, and LAN and Wi-Fi. You can see that there is a black area. Maybe we should be able to get notifications there. One thing I would absolutely love Nintendo to do on this quick menu would give us access to maybe opening different games, or heck, even interacting with our friends list, so that we're not always closing a game. Even if you just put your game in the background, it still takes your experience away. You have to not really back out of the game. If you do this, you can actually go back to the main menu really fast. It's not like it's a hassle to switch in between games and go to your friends list. You do have to keep pulling up the game, even though it only takes a couple of seconds. But if you can hold down the button and bring up the quick menu and access a lot of the features like your friends list, notifications, switching between games, and things like that, that would actually give the quick menu some purpose, because right now there's really no reason to bring this menu up unless you want to see the percentage of your battery life, or if you want to see the time and day and how much strength your Wi-Fi or your LAN is doing, or put the system in sleep mode and airplane mode. One thing at least we do have with this quick menu in handheld mode, you can actually change the brightness of your system in handheld mode. But outside of that, there's nothing really you can do with the quick menu on the Nintendo Switch. Next up, we have taking screenshots and taking video. As I mentioned before, you can't take video currently on the Nintendo Switch, but what you can do is you can actually take screenshots. When you take screenshots, it only takes screenshots real quick and it puts them in your album. But it would be cool though if you had multiple ways to take screenshots. For instance, what if you can press the button down once, it takes a screenshot, or what if you hold it down, it takes a screenshot, and then it immediately opens up a menu that lets you share it to social media, whether it be Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, etc. That would be really, really nice, because at this very moment, once you take a screenshot, you do have to press the home button, go over to your album, click on the actual photo or video, and then go ahead and share it that way. But maybe the picture that you're taking or the screenshot, you know you're instantly gonna be uploading it to the internet, to your social media sites. You know that for a factor. So that's why if Nintendo gives us two different ways to take screenshots, holding it down once to take one and it puts it in your album. Maybe you don't want to share it, but you still want to keep it. But maybe you want to upload it instantly. You hold it down for 3 seconds, it takes a screenshot, and then it instantly goes straight to a menu that automatically lets you share it to social media. That would be a very nice feature right there. Next up on the list, we have play activity. It is great that Nintendo is actually allowing us to see how many hours we put into a game. Honestly, if you were to ask me, I think every single company outside of Nintendo, whether it be Sony or Microsoft or even Steam, every company should allow you to see how many hours you play in a game. But one problem I personally have, it's not too big of a deal, which I would like Nintendo to actually change. You can see right here, it shows you all the games. I don't know how many games it showed you. I think the most it's ever going to show to the public is 10. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's 10. The one problem I have is you can see that I played the ARMS Global Test Punch, and then I also played the Splatoon Global Test Punch, but I cannot delete it off of my play activity, which is very, very, very annoying. For some reason, I do want Nintendo to let us pick and choose what games you can delete off the playlist, because those games I don't own and they're demos. Even with the demos, why can't we remove them? We need to be able to remove test punches and demos off of it. It looks like they don't actually show demos because I have played the Puyo Puyo Tetris demo, and it looks like it's not showing up here, which is great news. But I definitely want the Splatoon Global Test Fire and the ARMS Global Test Fire off of my play activity. Right now, you can only delete everything off your play activity, so you can't pick and choose what games you want to be deleted, which is frustrating for me. Next up on the list, we have save data. So here is where all the save data is on your system. It's nice that we can see all of our save data on the Nintendo Switch, but you can't currently transfer it to an SD card, to a computer, or heck, even to the cloud, and that is not good. Nintendo needs to change this policy right away, because what happens when your system breaks, it gets stolen, etc., and you lose all of your data. Some games, it may not be too big of a deal, but games for like Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, even Mario Kart 8, you don't want to re-unlock everything. So let us back up our save data. One thing that would be very nice, which I know for a factor Sony allows on the PlayStation, Sony allows you to actually back up all your save data on the cloud, even if it has to be paid for, like on the Nintendo Switch's online service when we start paying for it sometime next year. Make that a feature. If you have to make it a feature for subscribers, I am okay with that, because let's honest, that would be a very great feature that I think a lot of people would actually like, and I would like that feature as well, because let's say I sell a game and I just want to back up the data in case I rebuy it, or I give my game away and I don't know when I'm going to get it back, or hey, maybe I want to save space on the system, then I want to actually back up all my game saves to the cloud. Then I can just re-download them. That would also be cool if I could also re-download them on another person's Switch. That would be very, very convenient. Also, as you're aware, the Switch only has about, it comes 32 out the box, but realistically you only get about 26, 27, 28, something about that free space on the system, and you can't actually remove those again. So I want you to be able to definitely put them on an SD card or the cloud somewhere so you're not taking up space. You can see right now that's not how much I had when I got the system. I don't think I had 25 gig. I think I had 27, 28 out of the box. You can see a lot of my screenshots actually take up space, which fortunately you can actually back up on an SD card, I do believe, I'm pretty sure. So that's not too bug of a problem, but especially when you start getting a lot of games. You can see the Mario Kart 8 data. The Mario Kart 8 data is very huge. Sure, it's not a gig or even 500 megabytes, but 141 megabytes for save data is a lot of data lost, especially since the Switch does not have a lot of internal memory. So let's make that happen. You can see Breath of the Wild, 64 megabytes. Over time, this will add up, and if you have 20, 30 games, this could easily get up to 500 megabytes, 1 gig over the life of your system, and this is just very not good. Let's find another way to save our games, our game saves on the Nintendo Switch. Next on the list, we have storage. Well, it's nice we can put a micro SD card into the Switch, but with games becoming bigger and with more games coming out to the market, I want there to be more opportunities to save games on your system, because even if you buy like a 200 gig or 246 gig, whatever the biggest card is, over the lifetime of your system, if you own it for years and years and years and years, you can easily run out of space. So what I want Nintendo to do is allow us to use USB flash drives or USB hard drives on your Nintendo Switch. Sure, you can probably only do it in docked mode when you're on the TV, because there is no USB ports on the Switch. What they actually could do, they could use a on-the-go cable. If you never use an OTG cable, those ones you can actually use with Android smartphones or tablets. They could go that route if they wanted to, plug in an OTG cable on the Nintendo Switch, and then while you're playing it in like tabletop mode or even in handheld mode, you can have a hard drive sitting there with all your games. Or even if you couldn't bring it on the go, what would be nice would be that you have all your games downloaded on your hard drive, and then you can just swap them out. And I'm hoping it wouldn't take too long to swap games out. So for instance, I'm playing on the TV, but then I have to go on vacation or go somewhere, I can just swap out games instead of having to re-download some games, because games can get very big, especially if you own a digital copy of Breath of the Wild. That can take you hours and hours and hours to download, when in fact you could just put all your games on a hard drive and then swap them out whenever you want. I'm sure transferring between your SD card and the hard drive would be heck of a lot faster than trying to download a full game. So let's make that happen, Nintendo. Give us more options for storage. Last but not least, let's talk about digital games on the Switch. If you don't know, I'm mostly a digital guy when it comes to the Nintendo Switch. I just love having all my games on one system, especially since the Switch is a console that's a hybrid and a TV console where you can play it on the go and you can play it on your big screen TV in your house. I think that's very nice to just take all your games on the go. Outside of Breath of the Wild being physical, all the rest of my games are going to be digital games. One thing I would like Nintendo to do would be that if your system gets lost, stolen, or something happens to it, who knows what happens, I want Nintendo to be able to let us download all the games that we currently own on a brand new system. When you sign in with your one account, you can re-download all the games you own, because it's not like I illegally downloaded these games. I paid my hard-earned money for these games, so if my system's lost or broken, who knows what could happen, and that's very frustrating as a person who loves digital and is paying for all the games. Why do I have to lose the games just because my system got stolen, it broke, who knows what happens? Or maybe in the future when Nintendo releases a Switch 2.0, which is probably gonna happen, or even a Switch Mini for the kids, and you want to buy a different version of the Switch, and you can't transfer all your games over, or you can transfer them over, but it would just be nice if we can sign into our account and just re-download everything we own in case something happens to your original Switch that you currently own. Another thing I want Nintendo to do absolutely is, I know for a fact Xbox does this or Microsoft. One thing I want them to do is add a family type of mode where you can actually share all your digital games with family members. Because let's for instance say that you have a lot of kids, or maybe you have a lot of siblings, or maybe even your parents want to play games and they all own their separate Nintendo Switches, but they don't want to go out and buy copies of all the games because maybe you own all the games as a buying customer, but they're part of your family, and they're like, why would I buy all the games over if one of my family members already owns all the game, but I don't want to play on his Nintendo Switch, I actually want to play on my own Nintendo Switch. Let's make that happen. We can share games. Of course, there'd probably be a limit to how many people you can have on a family account. Maybe you can only have like 3 or 4 family members. They would have to work something out so you wouldn't be sharing it with friends and things like that. You may have to prove if you live in the same house, the area code, zip code, something. But I'm sure Nintendo could figure this out to where we can share digital games. Because let's be honest, you can already share physical copies of a game. If I buy Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or Breath of the Wild, I can take out my copy, give it to my cousin to borrow, or give it to my mom or dad or my sibling to borrow, and then they can play the game, and then once they're done they can return it to me. Maybe also they would have to figure out a way to like make sure they're not keeping the game forever, they're just borrowing the game. They may have like a month to play it and then they'll have to return it or something, but I'm sure they can figure out something, and that's one feature I do want to come to the Switch. Anyway guys, there's all of the features I'm hoping Nintendo will add to the Nintendo Switch. Yes, I'm sure a lot of the stuff I talked about in this video will be added in future updates. I can pretty much guarantee you on that, but not everything may not be coming. Of course, some of my expectations are going to be unrealistic, unfortunately, without a doubt. But anyway, guys, that's some stuff I want to come to the Nintendo Switch. Anyway, guys, peace out. I'll see you guys later in my next video. I'm out, guys.